Charles Roller III was a 1928 graduate of Augusta Military Academy. After graduating from VMI in 1932, he returned to AMA as a teacher and coach. His grandfather, Charles Somerville Roller, founded AMA, and his father, C.S. Roller Jr., was the current commandant. In 1939, C.S. Roller III died in an automobile accident, leaving behind a young wife and infant daughter, Linda Roller. In 1947, to pay homage to C.S. Roller III, the Roller Rifles Precision Drill Rifle Platoon was created. The platoon would consist of 42 members hand-picked from the Corps of Cadets by the school's leadership. Linda Roller, now an adolescent, would be the honorary vice commander. Over the next several years, the team competed against other drill teams and represented AMA to the public in parades and ceremonies. Being selected to the Roller Rifle drill team was considered an honor and a privilege.
How did you get involved in roller rifles?
Well, I mean,
Freshman?
I think, I probably was a freshman. I'm trying to think of when my first year on the team, it was probably when I was a freshman. And the way they went through that process, you were selected and then approved, and then they came in and tagged you, and it was an honor to be on the squad. So, and then I stayed on it through the balance of that time there, and it was nice. I think my senior year I was either a squad leader on the team or I think it was a squad leader on the team.
And what were the type of events that you participated in?
Well, I mean, we did a lot of parades. So the Harrisonburg parades, the Stanton parades, out in Waynesboro, we did those as well. Obviously, on our own campus, we did a lot of different exhibitions. Probably the most memorable exhibition for me was when we were asked and tasked to perform at halftime in a basketball. And I forget what game it was, but to me, it was very intense because normally you're on a field, you're 50 to 100 yards out, and we're in a basketball. I mean, when you're sitting inside of that organization, there are people like within 10, 15 feet from you. It's also very loud, and so everything had to be extremely precise. And so that was probably the most intense, and I think we did a pretty good job all the way around. So that became what we really liked to do. I mean, we did the regular parades that we were invited to, but going to halftime games in a basketball season was phenomenal.
From its inception, the team wore the standard AMA dress uniforms. However, starting around 1968, the team incorporated unique items to their uniform. This set members apart from the rest of the Corps and built esprit de corps within the team. Over the years, the uniform and drill routine would change, but the pride of being a roller rifle never did. Despite shrinking enrollment, the Roller Rifles continued to perform until the school was forced to close in 1983 after 110 years. With the closing of the school, the legacy of the Roller Rifles was destined to fade as well. In 1999, the Alumni Association opened the new AMA Museum, and the revival of the old team began to take shape.
And Royal Rifles actually sustained itself a little bit after the closure of the school. Well, there was a period of time, yes or no, that maybe you guys got together again?
Yeah, I think, Bob, what happened was, and I'll tell you how we reconstituted it, if you will, but we would come to these reunions and everybody would sit around and talk about the old days and so on. And it was a fellow named Jim Hash, who is still with us, but not at this event today or this weekend. But Jim just sort of blurted this out, saying, you know what, why don't we try to reconstitute the Royal Rifles? And everybody kind of booed the idea or whatever. I mean, look at us, compared to what we were. So we sort of dismissed that. And then Gary Granger and I were heading back to Texas, and we both rode our motorcycles up, so we were heading back on a bike trip. And I think it was someplace in Tennessee. We had pulled off to have a cigar and whatever. And Gary said, why don't you kind of go do that? And I said, do what? He said, why don't we reconstitute the Royal Rifles? I said, God, the logistics would just be astounding. So, as typical Gary, he can pretty much convince you into doing anything. So he hit me up a couple more times on the trip back, and then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, maybe we could actually do this. So I enlisted the help of a bunch of people, and it was a monumentous, it was just a phenomenally complicated task, but people stepped up, and we brought them back together for the first time. I think we marched 3 different years. It was pretty amazing, the muscle memory, the commands, the cadence. It was amazing that we were able to sort of recreate all that.
In 2005, the Roller Rifle Platoon was reborn, consisting of now aged former members of the team from various years. Most of them remembered and could still perform the routines from decades ago. For the next few years, Roller Rifle alumni assembled at reunions to perform their old routines for their classmates.
enjoyed tremendously until we retired the roller rifles, the marching that we did, and it just amazed people on how a bunch of old guys could still do what we did compared to what we did 40 years ago.
In 2011, the reborn Roller Rifle Drill Team met and performed for the last time. The end was bittersweet, but brought a needed and proper closure to the team's legacy.
It just wasn't sustainable.
You know, I think when you do it first time, it's pretty exciting. The second time, it was still good. Then we kind of paused for about a year, and because it just got a little stale. And so I put the team together again and said, okay, why don't we do it just one more time, but let's just kind of send it off, and this will be the final event for the roller rifles. Doug joined the team up on the blacktop. We formed up, and we did the exercise and the drill, and came back up, and for the last time called up the roller rifles and dismissed the platoon. It was very, very emotional. I mean, it was, I don't think it's sustainable. It's something you do because it just pulls at your heart. But if you do it every year, it just becomes sort of process, and we didn't want it to become process, so we wanted to do it right. We had a lot of people that spent a lot of time doing it right. We had a challenge coin developed for the roller rifles. All the uniforms were sourced from the military. It was just a lot of work to get it done. And if you did it every year, it just become mundane, I think, just normal sort of thing. Besides that, some of it was hard, getting a hard time getting around the field. So it was best we closed it out the way we did. So it was great. It was great fun.
Detail! And cut! Present! Arms! Arms! The last time. Roll rifles. Dismiss.